different ways that are available in today's time, in today's market, in today's awesome market. We are experiencing an amazing summer. Why, do I have the courage to say that? Number one, interest rates are super low. They are hitting again the 3.5%, 4.25. So if you have been on the age of buying a house, it is my personal opinion that it couldn't be a better time to do so. So in the next 30 minutes or so, it'll be my job to educate you on the different ways that you can become a homeowner, even if you have no money for the down payment. So stay tuned and I'll show you how you can get into a property by utilizing an amazing program through the state of California called the CalHAPA. I'm going to be showing you how you can get into a property even if you have less than perfect credit and even if you have no proof of income taxes. So that's what I'm going to be trying to accomplish tonight. So I'm just doing the last steps over here in order to start syndicating this content to go live in the different social media platforms. So let me share my screen and hello. Okay, so let's get started. Let's go into the nitty gritty, into the content. This webinar, it's for you. If you're looking to buy or refinance a house today or in the near future, and you just don't know where to start, this webinar is for you. If you want to buy a house and you don't think you have enough money, as I said before, stay tuned and I'm going to show you how you can get into a property by financing 100%. Okay, so we call it the zero down program, but you can finance everything. And I'm going to even show you how you can finance a good portion of the closing costs so that you can get into a property with little money out of pocket. This webinar is for you if you want to buy a house and you don't think you can qualify because you have less than perfect credit. As the saying says, bad things happen to good people. And believe me when I tell you, credit is probably one of the easiest things to fix. So stay tuned for details. So again, to quickly recap everything on we're going to be touching today, what you're going to be discovering: how to buy a house with zero down, how to finance the good portion of the closing costs, how to buy a house even if you have no papers, no legal status, no social security number. I'm going to show you how you can do that. I'm going to show you how you can receive a non-payable gift, down payment assistance from the state of California, free money for you to become a homeowner. Good or good? And if you stay tuned at the end of the webinar, I'm going to show you how you can claim a free $25 Home Depot card. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and please be patient with me. Again, my goal is to teach you as much as I can in the limited time that we have together. And at the end of the webinar, I'm going to show you how you can take it further with us by booking a no obligation 30-minute phone consultation, because we don't like to discuss personal information. We're live. What happens in Facebook, it doesn't stay in Facebook, right? It goes everywhere. So my name is Jerry Torres. I'm with Vision One Mortgage. I've been in the business in real estate for over 17 years. I started my career in real estate as a realtor, working for Century 21 Excellence in the Norwalk office. I gotta say, my first year, I didn't do very well in real estate. But at the end of 2003, I got involved with different coaching companies like the My Fair organization, and that helped me break through and become the #1 agent in my office. That was as quickly as in 2 years in 2005. That's my lovely wife and I, a little bit younger with less fat in my body. Now my pride and joy is my family. It's having the ability to spend a lot of time with my kids. I have 2 kids right now. Rebecca, she's starting kindergarten in a couple of days on August 7th. And Nathan, he is a bright little boy, let me tell you. He's 3, just about to be 4. Now, I love educating. I love to empower people with education. I'm a teacher at heart. And my job here is to educate you again on the different ways that you have in today's time to become a homeowner. I started hosting this type of events live, and I quickly learned. Hello, Jerry. Wake up and smell the coffee. Technology is changing everything. How we receive information, how we learn. So I started to having webinars, and I am thankful that I do because now I can reach more people. We can help more families realize the dream of home ownership. So being a homeowner has its perks, its benefits. One of them is equity. When you become a homeowner, a good portion of the mortgage payment, or a portion initially, I'm going to say a portion of the mortgage payment called principal, it starts bringing down the balance. So you become a homeowner, you make a mortgage payment. Number one, principal starts going down. That is referred to as forced equity, forced savings, because you're being forced to save. So it's like if you had a savings account technically, but you wouldn't be able to tap into it until you have at least between 30 to 20% equity in the house. Then you can start exploring the options as refinancing, cash out money. There are many options out. Okay. Now, the second thing that happens when you make a mortgage payment, initially, a good portion of your mortgage payment is going to be paid mortgage interest. I am not a tax preparer. I am not an accountant. I am not a CPA. I am not an attorney. So my suggestion to you is always consult with the CPA anything and everything that I'm going to be discussing tonight, okay? So that you have that peace of mind that if whatever say I'm saying, am I right or not? Double check anyways, okay? That's part of your due diligence. But when you make a mortgage payment, a good portion of that payment is to pay interest, mortgage interest. Again, depending on your tax bracket, you might be able to deduct up to $750,000 in mortgage interest. What does that mean to you? If you're a high earner and you need deductions, being a homeowner is one way to start accumulating deductions. What if you're already a homeowner? Well, then start accumulating rental properties to help you mitigate the amount of money that you would have to pay in income tax. Number two is profit. As properties go up, and let me tell you, properties are still going up. It is being projected by many reputable organizations that properties will continue to appreciate, not at a 6 or 10% like it has happened in the past 10 years, but they will continue going up at a rate of 4.7, 4.8. We have different opinions over there. But properties are continuing going up. Now, you add that with a lack of inventory. Yes, we have a lack of inventory. And why is that? Because we have a new generation, well, not so new, people born between 1980 to the year 2000 called the baby boomers. They already, living mom and dad's couch, and they are buying houses. So we have the baby boomers, I'm sorry, the millennials buying houses, and then we have another generation called the baby boomers, which is people born after World War II. So we have two generations fighting for the inventory. And then third, you add that with low rates in the 3.5% to 4.25, 5%, depending on your FICO. Okay. And then you have a really hot market, a hot summer, and not just literally, but in the real estate market. So there are many tax benefits. When you make repairs to the property, if you're occupying the property, something called, and talk to your tax preparer, something called cost basis, which is the amount of money that you paid when you buy the house, it starts increasing. And when you sell the property, actually, this applies to investors. I'm sorry, because if you're a homeowner and you occupy the property, you can accumulate up to $500,000 if you're husband and wife, if you're married, okay, and not pay a single penny to the IRS. Now, the cost basis scenario applies to investors, to landlords. When they buy a property and when they start making repairs, additions to the property, everything starts adding the cost basis. And when the time of selling comes, when you sell, the amount of money that you pay in capital gains is going to be less because, cost basis, sales price, right? As it starts narrowing down, then you would potentially pay less money in capital. All right. So again, real estate, it's an excellent way of building wealth. If you don't believe me, ask 90% of the people in the United States that are wealthy, that are millionaires, they own some sort of real estate, even if it's just a primary house. But everybody that is wealthy, that is a millionaire in the United States, 90%, they have some sort of real estate holding. So don't fall behind. Start building a legacy for you, for your family. You can achieve financial freedom when you invest in real estate by enjoying what is called passive income, multiple streams of income by accumulating different rental profits. Okay. All right. Now, buying a house could be a scary process. A lot of people don't know, where do I start? Do I even qualify for a mortgage at this time? Can I buy a house even if my credit is less than perfect? I've seen it all. As a mortgage loan originator, I'll seen the 300 FICOs, I'll seen the very low FICOs, but you know what? Nothing scares me because fixing your credit is probably one of the easiest things to do. Okay, so now the good news is that as a first-time home buyer, you could have a FICO as low as 580 and still buy a house as a first-time home buyer. Let me show you how in a moment. Now, who are the key players in the home buying process? Number one is your loan originator. My job, my team job is to pre-qualify you for a house before you start looking for properties in Zillow, Redfin, whatever you use. You don't want to start the home buying process before you talk to a loan officer. Why? Because you really need to know how much you qualify. You need to know what your new mortgage payment will be because you don't want to experience a payment shock. You need to know exactly how much money you need to bring to the table for closing. Okay. So, first, you need to talk to us. Once we have seen all of your financials, income, credit, um, income, credit, everything, then we're gonna give you a pre-approval letter. And not only a pre-approval letter, but we're actually gonna have an underwriter look at everything and give you what is called a desktop approval, DU approval. Once we have that, we give you that, we give it to a qualified real estate agent, someone that you trust. If you don't have an agent, let us know. We can connect you with professional guys that can really take you by the hand and show you how to buy a house. Okay. So now the job of your agent is to find two or three properties that you like according to your wants and needs. And he or she is gonna take you out to see those houses. You're gonna write one, two, three offers. I advise that you write as many offers as you can and wait for responses and see, which is the seller that is giving you the best terms. Are they assisting you with closing costs or no assistance? Are they doing the termite? Whatever. You're going to talk to your agent about those things. Once your agent has an offer approved, then two companies are going to kick in, title and escrow. The job of title insurance, as part of your closing costs, you're going to be buying title insurance. Actually, the seller pays for title insurance. But the job of title insurance is to insure the title. So it's to ensure that you're buying a property from a homeowner that is actually a homeowner. You're not buying a property from someone in Africa or Asia that you don't know, right? Now, escrow, it's a neutral third party whose job is to ensure that everything in the offer, the accepted offer, it's done according to the law. When all of the terms have been met, I after I help you get a loan, the bank sends the money, the homeowner sends the title, escrow closes. Congratulations, you're a homeowner. Okay. Now, before that happens, there are other companies that are going to be contacted, such as number one, a home inspector. Once you have an offer accepted, the job of your realtor is to recommend a good home inspector. The home inspector is going to go on top of the roof. He's going to test the electrical outlets. He's going to go underneath the foundation to make sure there are no surprises because you don't want to have a surprise once you moved in, right? Okay. Now, on my part, as your lender, I'm going to order what is called an appraisal. An appraisal, it's an opinion of value of the house because we want to make sure that you're buying a property that is actually worth it, that you're not overpaying for a property, okay? So that is the job of an appraiser. Appraisal. Now, what if the appraisal comes in, let's say, lower than sales price? Then at that point, you're gonna have to talk to your agent. That's why you need to team up with a good agent, because your agent will have to reach out to the seller and come up with the win-win. Ideally, in the perfect scenario, is for the seller to come 100% to what the appraised value is. Okay. Now, the good news is if you're buying a property as a first-time home buyer, there is a clause called the FHA, a mandatory clause. And that clause says that you're not forced to buy the house if it doesn't appraise. Good or good. Now, if it appraises for more power to you. The seller doesn't have to know. Okay. Now, there are different type of programs depending on your circumstance. For example, if you are planning on buying a house over $700,000, then you might not qualify for a standard FHA loan. For a standard first-time home buyer, you're gonna have to apply for a jumbo loan. Okay. Now, the good news is that we have a jumbo loan up to $5 million, and some borrowers qualified with no MI. Good or good. So contact us if you have any questions, if you want to buy a property in the high end. Now, if you're thinking of buying a property below 760, right? I mean, FHA limits, sales price limits keep changing. But right now they're roughly in the 760s, okay? For a single family residence, duplex, you can buy up to 900 and some change, 900, close to $1 million, okay? If you're buying a duplex with the FHA. Now, if you want to buy a house as a first-time home buyer, the lender will lend you up to 96.5%, and you have to come up with the difference as a down payment, okay? Now, there is also the conventional loan. It's a very attractive loan for people that they have 20% down. They don't want to have mortgage insurance included in the payment. Boom, 20% down. Now, the good news is that we have a conventional loan with 3% down, no MI. Good or good. So that's what I'm saying. I'm going to be talking about a lot of things, but at the end of the webinar, feel free to book a consultation if you have any specific questions pertaining to you. Now, if you have served our country, okay, the Veterans Affairs, the VA, the government would like to reward you by offering you a 100% financing loan. And usually this loan is less expensive than an FHA, okay? The closing cost is, it's more reasonable. So if that's the case, reach out to us, book a consultation, and let us show you how you can get into a property zero down using ABA loan. Okay. And there's also the reverse mortgages, just like the word says, they are in reverse. What does that even mean? The bank will give you a monthly payment instead of you paying the bank. But now that applies for senior citizens. I don't like to use the word senior. For 62 years younger, okay, people that have a house and they have equity on the property and they would like to get some of that equity, this is an option. If you have considered this option, reach out to us and we can answer any question. Okay, now, what if you want to buy a house, but you don't have the down payment? Can you still buy a house? And the answer is yes. There is a very attractive loan offered by the California Housing Finance Agency. We refer to this loan program as the CASA. They offer a very attractive loan in which, number one, if you don't have the money for the down payment, CASA, the California Housing Finance Agency, can offer you a second loan for 3.5%. So you would have up to 3 loans. The first one, 96.5%. That is your typical FHA loan. The second loan could be a silent second loan, okay? If you decide to take this route with a 0%, what we call the 0% down, you would have a silent second for 3.5%. That's to cover your down payment. So this is the down payment assistance comes in the form of a silent second. So now, what's a silent second? It's a loan that is silent, meaning you don't have to make monthly payments to it. If you don't want to, you have the option to pay, but not the obligation. Now, the silent second, it's repayable, okay? It would be repayable when you sell the house or you refinance the house, but at least it gives you the ability to get into a property, to become a homeowner. Now, if you're pressed on cash and would like even more assistance, CalHafa offers a third loan. It could be 2% or it could be 3% of the amount financed to cover some of your closing costs. So in reality, you can come up with very little money. So roughly just a little bit over 1%. Anyway, when you submit an offer, you're gonna have to give a deposit. That is called the EMD, the earnest money deposit. Okay. So, and typically, double check with your agent. The EMD is like 1%. So if you're buying a house at 500,000, typically the EMD, the earnest money deposit, could be $5,000. Plus, you would need money for the appraisal and the home inspection. So that's what I'm saying, roughly 1%. But when you let us pre-qualify you, we can tell you exactly how much money you will need in order to buy a house with as little money as possible. Good or good? Now, there is another super juicy, attractive loan program for people that are working in certain professions, such as police officers, border patrol agents, sheriffs, correctional officers, law enforcement, or other people working in law enforcement capacity, firefighters, CAL FIRE, paramedics, EMTs, including admin people. You don't have to be a firefighter, but if you work in the administrator part of the firefighting department, you might be able to receive free money to buy a house. Teachers, okay, people working in the public district, okay, might be able to receive 3.5% free money to buy a house. So what are you waiting for? Who doesn't want free money? Now, this program is really attractive for another reason. Number one, you don't have to be a first-time homebuyer. You could be a homeowner, but as long as you want to upgrade into a bigger, better house and you intend to occupy that property, you might be able to receive that gift. So I am always saying might because I like for you to talk to us and we can tell you exactly if you qualify or not. Okay? Now, another good reason why we love this program is because the FICO, with the 640, you can get into a property with the free money. Okay. And only occupying borrowers only. All right. Now, if you're considering buying a house, there are three factors that all lenders, 100% of them, are going to look into before they give you a mortgage. Number one is legal status. If you want to buy a house, generally speaking, you need to be a U.S. citizen. You need to be a resident or have a work permit, okay? Or you might just have an asylum. You might be a refugee, but you need to have some sort of legal status, okay? If that's the case, then you might be able to qualify for the zero down payment assistance program. Now, what if you don't have a legal status? Can you still buy a house? And the answer is yes. There is a loan program funded by private individuals. It's called the ITIN program. Okay, with the ITIN program, you can buy a house and the bank will finance you 80%. So you have to come up with the difference as a down payment. So a lot of people might say, the down payment is kind of high. And it might be, okay, but there is a lot of people that they have come to this country, they have worked hard, they have really made it happen. Business owners, I've seen we have helped people working in construction, people that they know how to use the tools, but they're good savers. They know how to manage their finances, and we have been able to help them out with this program. Okay. So with this program, you don't need to have a social security card. All you need is the ITIN letter or the card. And the good news is that because this is a privately funded loan, you might be some properties that typically wouldn't qualify for financing with the banks, with the big banks, you would with this loan program, such as non-warrantable condos, meaning non-warrantable condos means that No, there are no warranties. All right. The second factor that all lenders will look into borrowers is income. Back in the days before the mortgage meltdown of 2007, 2008, as long as you had a pulse, you would qualify for a mortgage. There were some really funny names out there like Nina. No income, no assets, no problem. Stated loans. You stated how much money you were making, no problem. Your rate was higher, but you could buy a house. We had, there were the ninjas. No income, no job, no problem. It might sound funny, but this is actually a reality. Those loans existed. Now, after the mortgage meltdown, there were some laws being passed, such as FRID, Dodd-Frank, and they pretty much tied up the lending practice. Nowadays, if you want to buy a house, you need to support income. If you're an employee, the banks, they want to see your W-2s. If you are a business owner and have K1s as form of as proof of income, then they're gonna want to see the K1s or the 1120Ss or whatever income tax forms you file for your corporation. If you're a landlord, then the banks will want to see the Schedule E. 1099s, INTs, that is, if you're a private lender, you lend money, you earn interest, hey, that can help you qualify for a house. 1099Gs, if you go to Vegas and are fortunate in gambling, right? Well, hopefully you're also fortunate in love. But that money can help you qualify for a house. Another type of miscellaneous income. Bottom line is this: income has to be sourceable, and you have to prove income. Okay, the more income you make, the more property you can buy. Now, when it comes to income, everything helps you: overtime, bonuses, second job, seasonal work, retirement, social security. If you want to throw in your mother-in-law in the application to help you, that's an option too. Co-signers, your kids. Okay, so as long as they have 2 years of employment history. Okay, now what if for reasons that I don't want to know, you don't have income taxes? Maybe you haven't filed them. I don't know. I don't want to know the reasons, right? I am not the IRS. I am not the franchise tax police. Okay, but if you don't have income taxes, you can still buy a house by utilizing private individual loans, private investor loans, and there are loan programs called bank statement loans. For example, we have one that if you give us 1 month of bank statement, you can buy a house. The bank will finance you 75%. You have to be ready to pay the difference as a down payment. If you have that amount of money, no taxes, you can buy a house. Now, if you show 12 to 24 months, there is another bank statement loan program. You could have business income and they will lend you up to 90%. You pay the difference as a down payment. You can finance up to $5 million, okay? With the FICO as low as 600, you can buy an owner-occupied property, investment property, second house, okay? So the possibilities are endless. So reach out to us on any specific scenario so that we can put you on the right path and educate you on the steps that you need to take in order to become a homeowner. Good or good. Now, the other good thing about this program is for people that they have experienced foreclosure, short sale, bankruptcy, deed in lieu, you would qualify after 2 years. Okay, so reach out to us if you have any questions. Now, the last factor that all lenders are going to look into borrowers is FICO, 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 FICO. Three numbers that will dictate the rate. They will dictate if you can qualify for the zero down or what type of down payment you're going to be required. And many people don't know this, but the FICO credit is probably one of the easiest things to fix. Why do I say that? Because is this true? There are a lot of laws like Fair Credit Reporting Act that allow people to remove items from the credit report, such as anything, technically, almost anything, I'm going to say. Probably one of the things that is really hard to remove is late payment. But election accounts, bankruptcies, IRS liens, franchise tax board liens, all of those things could be eliminated from the credit report, even if they belong to you. How is that? The court system in the United States says that you are innocent until proven guilty. In my country, you are guilty until you're proven innocent. But Fair Credit Reporting Act allows people to say, hey, did you verify the information? Because that's what the law says. Lenders cannot enter anything derogatory in your credit report until they verify that it's you, that that item actually belongs to you. So there are companies out there, credit reporting companies, that they know what verbiage to use. They know exactly how to do this, and they can eliminate a lot of those derogatories. Okay, so follows for information. Okay, now a lot of people don't know this also. 35% of your FICO is composed of your payment history, meaning if you would like to have good credit, always pay your bills on time. Very simple. But the other 30% of your FICO is composed of how much you owe. This is referred as credit utilization, meaning if you have a credit card with a $10,000 limit, if you want to have good credit, keep that balance below 30%. If you would like to have excellent credit, then keep that balance below 10%. If you do that, your FICO will be high. Now, the other 10% is credit mix. Lenders want to see that you're responsible with different types of credit. Student loans, car payments, retail accounts, credit cards, different types of credit. They want to see a good credit mix. The other 10% is length of history. The older the credit, the higher the FICO. Now, what if you say, well, Jerry, I'm a student, I just turned 18. I haven't been able to build credit because I'm 18, and after 2 years you hit the lotto, whatever the case may be, and you want to buy a house. So how can you quickly build credit? Probably one of the fastest ways to do it is to ask someone that you know that has a good line of credit just to add you as an authorized user. You don't have to have access to the car and go crazy spending money. As long as you are added to that account, boom. If you have, if they have a very long credit history, you automatically inherit that length of history. And if they have a good credit utilization, meaning no more than 30%, again, you can have a FICO as quickly as 30 days. Okay, moving on. Now, what if your credit is less than perfect? You have maybe a 550 FICO, and you still buy a house? And the answer is, you guessed it, yes. With a 550 FICO, there is a loan by the FHA that would allow for you to buy a house. Now, be ready. They're going to finance you 90%, and you have to put the difference, but you can still buy a house. So as you can see, we have shown you different ways that you can become a homeowner. Now, many people, they still have fears. They have, Jerry, fears like, what if I lose my job? And to counterback that fear, I always tell people, well, in all honesty, it's better to be a homeowner and go through a financial hardship than being a tenant. Why? Because, for example, if you're a homeowner and you have equity, you can easily apply for a hard money loan if you have the equity. Get that money, fix whatever problems you have, boom, you're out of the problem. Now, what if you don't have equity and there is no equity in the house? Well, the good news is that before the banks can foreclose, they have to go through the foreclosure process, which could typically take almost like 6 months. So you have 6 months to probably file bankruptcy, Chapter 7, Chapter 13, do a loan modification, do a rent statement. So you have options as a homeowner. But if you're a tenant, guess what? 5 days go by and they'll give you that 3-day notice to pay or quit. And if you haven't paid within 3 days, boom, they're going to give you the 30-day notice. And if you haven't paid within 30 days, guess what? They're going to file an unlawful detainer lawsuit. And that's going to be affecting your credit for the next 7 to 10 years. I never endorse, I always advise people, never ever to go through an eviction process because that's gonna ruin your credit. Now, many people have the fear, repairs. I don't know. I am not very handy. Well, me neither. I don't call the handy loan originator. I'll call myself the techie loan originator because I don't know how to fix what. Okay, so now the good news is that when you buy a house, you can buy something called home warranty. The home warranty, you pick up the phone, you have to be willing to give a minimum deductible. And a lot of companies they have different fees, but it could be 60, $100, right? And anything that fixing the property, almost anything, they'll go and fix it up for you. Okay. Now the other fear is, but Jerry, my payment is going to be high. And probably at the beginning, you might feel that it's a little bit high. Now, the good news is that when you buy a house, as long as the payment is fixed for 30 years, guess what? You don't have to worry about high payments anymore. Okay, so now just keep that in mind. Buy with a 30-year fix because you don't want to experience what a lot of people experienced a couple of years ago with having those 228 fixed for 2 years and adjustables. Don't do that. Okay, unless you're an investor. That's a different story. Okay, now, so if you're tired of people telling you how to live your life, if you live on the second floor and you have a naughty landlord or a naughty, neighbor telling you, don't make noises or whatever the case may be. If you're tired of living in a cramped space, and if you're tired of your landlord not asking you for forgiveness or for permission to increase your rent, then it might be a good time to become a homeowner. So right now we are going to the hot summer. It's a great time to enjoy the pool. That is, if you like the pool. If you like barbecuing, it's a great time to be out there. A great time for your kids to be playing outside. You know, get rid of those iPads. And please let them have a normal childhood, if that even exists, right? But then, the end of the year is gonna come, uh, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and if you like to entertain, why not buy a house that will allow you to do so? So I want to thank you so far for being here in this webinar. Any questions, any specific questions that you might have for your specific situation, we encourage you to go to jerrytorres.pro/calendar and book a free consultation. Okay. We don't consider ourselves salespeople. We consider ourselves educators. Our job is to educate you. We never like to decline people. We don't like to use that word. So if you don't qualify for a mortgage, we're going to give you a plan that you can apply so that you can become a homeowner. Just right now, today I submitted a loan for a family that we spoke like 2 months ago, and we gave him a plan. The husband didn't have a FICO, so we gave him a plan. He now has over 700 FICO, and he qualifies. They had the income, but they didn't have the credit. But that's our job. Our job is to educate you, to give you options so that you can become a homeowner sooner than later. Now, for the first 5 people that book an appointment tonight, we would like to reward you for being an action taker, and we're going to give you a free $25 Home Depot card so that you can start thinking, okay, what am I going to fix with this 25 bucks? All right, so thank you again for spending this, I don't know, 30 minutes, 39 minutes with me. Thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it. And don't be a stranger. Go to jerrytorres.pro/calendar, book an appointment. And my team and I would like to have the privilege to serve you in your real estate needs. So again, thank you so much. And I hope to see you in 2 weeks.